Today we're going to be learning how to draw Bohr Rutherford models. A Bohr Rutherford model is a visual representation of an atom that shows the locations of the protons, neutrons, and electrons, as well as how many there are of each. This lesson is going to rely heavily on your knowledge of electron configurations, so if you need to go back and review that video before viewing this one, please do so now. I'm going to be working with the element Ne, or neon. Before you start drawing your model, there are a couple pieces of information that you need to find. First, you need to find the element's atomic number. This can be found by looking at the top corner of the element symbol. Neon has an atomic number of 10. Next, you need to find the element's mass number, which can be found by looking below the symbol. Neon has a mass number of 20. Now you're ready to find the number of protons, the number of neutrons, and the number of electrons. When finding the number of protons and electrons, it is helpful to remember our acronym APE. A stands for atomic number, P stands for protons, and E stands for electrons, because in every neutral atom of an element, the atomic number, the number of protons, and the number of electrons are the same. Since neon has an atomic number of 10, that means it has 10 protons and 10 electrons. Last but not least, we have to find the number of neutrons. This can be found by remembering that the atomic mass of an element is the number of neutrons plus the number of protons. If you know the atomic mass and the number of protons, then you can subtract the number of protons from the atomic mass, and the remaining number is the element's number of neutrons. In neon's case, it has an atomic mass of 20, 10 protons, and 20 minus 10 leaves you with 10 neutrons. Now that we know all of this information, we are ready to start drawing our model. To the right of my table, you can see that I have a small gray circle surrounded by dotted lines. The gray circle represents my nucleus, which contains the protons and the neutrons. The dotted line circles represent my energy orbitals, and that is where my electrons will go. When you start drawing your models, you're going to draw a circle that represents the nucleus, and inside, you're going to write the number of protons and the number of neutrons. In my model of neon, I have 10 protons and 10 neutrons. Next, we are going to place our electrons. This is the portion of the video that is going to rely on your knowledge of electron configurations. So if you don't remember them and you need to go back and rewatch that video, now is the time to do so. I'll wait while you do that. Did you watch it? Now that you have refreshed yourselves on electron configurations, you remember that each energy orbital, represented by the dotted lines on my model, can only hold a certain number of electrons. The first energy level can hold 2 electrons, the second can hold 8 electrons, and for our purposes, the third level can hold 8 electrons as well. Around your nucleus, you're going to draw circles that represent the energy orbitals. As you recall, electrons do not like to be next to each other unless forced. So we are always going to place our electrons as far away from each other as possible, until we need more room. What this means is that there is a certain pattern to how we are going to place our electrons. For me, it is helpful to remember this pattern as the controls on an Xbox controller. Up, down, left, right, around, in, a circle. What this looks like on my model is I place one electron at the top of the nucleus and the other at the bottom, since electrons do not like to be next to each other. Now, my first energy level is full, and I have to move on to the second. On this orbital, I start by placing my first electron above the nucleus. Then I place my second below the nucleus, my third goes to the left, and my fourth electron goes to the right. All of my spaces are full now that I've placed 4 electrons, so our fifth electron is going to go back at the top. Continuing in the circle, the 6th electron goes next to the 4th electron that I placed, the 7th goes next to the 2nd electron that I placed, and last but not least, our 8th electron goes next to the 3rd electron that I placed. If we had more than 10 electrons, we would move on to the 3rd energy level and go through the same steps. For neon, I've placed all 10 electrons that it has, and now I have a completed Bohr Rutherford model. Now it's your turn. Try these 4 problems on your own and come to class tomorrow with any questions that you may have on how to draw Bohr Rutherford models.